We're live, Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. MLW returning to original programming Wednesday with the launch of Fusion Alpha, three-match show. It will debut on YouTube at 7 p.m. Eastern, airings on beIN Sports later in the week. On the show, Davey Richards making his MLW debut versus TJP, and we're very happy to be joined by Davey Richards here today. Davey, how you doing?
Good, thanks for having me.
Man, it's been a long time.
Boy, it sure has.
Yes.
Old ICW days.
That's right. For those I mentioned earlier in the show, I was there from the very first day that you went to wrestling school with Tim Flowers. And actually, I don't know who was actually running the school at that point. That's arguable. But you were there at the school from the beginning.
Yeah, I gotta give credit where credit's due. Sonny O'Mara, he showed me a lot. He was a good guy.
Yes, oh, Sonny. You know, it's funny because, like, there were a few guys that made it big. Spanky, Brian Kendrick, obviously Brian Danielson, who's working at a 20,000-person show here tonight. And they all had one thing in common, which was you started and you couldn't wait to get out of there. And they never even bothered starting. They just immediately got out of there. Because there was like nothing, I shouldn't say nothing, because there was wrestling up there. But like, if you wanted to make it in the late 90s, early 2000s, like you just had to leave.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. There was no question. Even California didn't have a whole ton going on. I mean, everything was East Coast. Yep.
I guess you've been gone for a while. And what have you been? I know you did like paramedics and firefighting and that sort of thing. I can't remember exactly what it was, but that had been your passion. What happened?
I went to medical school.
Medical school.
I kind of just reached a point where I could no longer simultaneously do school and do wrestling full time. One would have suffered, and obviously I wasn't able to allow one to suffer. So. Plus, just wrestling for so many years, I kind of needed a break. And so focused on school, and I'd also just become a father, so that was really important to me. And, I wanted to be a fireman and a paramedic, and so I got to do all that. And, my school has lightened up a little bit so I can return to wrestling and give it my all. So the time was just right. The time was right to leave, and the time was right to come back.
So are you, I guess, explain a little bit of this to me in terms of fireman and paramedic, because I've had several firemen that I've known, and, they had weird hours because they lived at the firehouse. They would be there X number of days, and then they would have days off. I mean, is that part of what you're going to be doing, or will you have a more normal schedule as a paramedic?
So where I live in St. Louis, you're both simultaneous. So you're both a firefighter and paramedic, and you have to be able to flip back and forth at a moment's notice. So when I was full-time, it was you work 2 days straight and then you were off for 4 days straight. But now that I'm just part-time because I'm back to wrestling, I kind of pick up shifts when I feel like it.
Yeah, I ask because obviously, wrestling, traveling, one coast to the other, I mean, it's not ideal when it comes to trying to sleep. And then adding on top of that a job where you have to not sleep for a long time. And I was just wondering how that's been balancing those two things.
It's kind of all I know. So, there's some nights, you won't get a call, and you can sleep through the night. And there's other times that, you're fighting fire at 3 a.m. or someone got shot or something, so you never really know. But I've learned a lot more about balance, well, at least I think. Maybe my wife would be a better person to ask about that. But it's, I'm doing things that I love to do, so it's very easy to get motivated because I'm not being forced to do something I don't want to do.
So this has been a passion of yours for a long time. What was it about firefighting and being a paramedic that what attracted you to it? How long have you been interested? Is it like a childhood dream?
No. I didn't even know what it all started when I first moved to St. Louis in 2007. And, I knew then I knew then that I loved wrestling, but I didn't have aspirations to go to like WWE or anything. And especially back then, there was less places to make a really good full-time living wrestling. So I already knew like there was something else I needed to be looking into. And I was working out at a gym, and there was these St. Louis City firefighters like, oh, you'd be great. And they explained to me how it worked. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And they told me, well, you have to go to paramedic school. And I fell in love with that. So, I mean, I guess part of it, you get used to the adrenaline rushes from wrestling. That's always going to be me. But I'm very comfortable in that, oh, crap situation, where it's like, it's all or nothing and everything's on the line. So I like that atmosphere. So it fit in perfect with my personality.
Now, a lot of people, when they're out of the business for X number of years, some of them, when they return, they've maybe watched some stuff, or they still have the passion for wrestling, so they're watching stuff even though they're not working. And
right.
they decide they're going to come back and they want to change this about their style, or they want to add this to what they're doing. Did you have any of that, or are you feeling like, I really liked what I was doing before, and so that's what I'm going to do when I come back?
So when I left, I didn't watch any wrestling. I didn't watch any wrestling whatsoever because I didn't want to get the itch for it, and I had to really concentrate on stuff. So, I definitely didn't watch my own stuff. But as far as me, I mean, I'm me. I'm going to wrestle the way that I, I'm kind of built to wrestle for, and the kind of stuff that I'm influenced by. My influences are always going to be the same. So I'm not going to have any new, current influences. So I think it's largely the same. I mean, I've taken out a few things that I don't fit, that I thought fit. And, plus I think for me personally, or not even me personally, the wrestling landscape has changed in the sense that I think pure technical wrestling is kind of reemerging. So, which is, so I'm able to do a lot more of that, which is fantastic.
Davey, you wrestled the holy trinity of guys who are not signed to WWE or AEW right now on the scene. Well, Daniel Garcia, I guess, has been signed by AEW, but Josh Alexander, Fred Yehai, Daniel Garcia, you wrestled all of these men in a short period of time. I thought the match at AEW was fabulous. I thought it was great. I loved what Alexander and Yehai did. What do you feel about this new crop or this younger crop of guys who are coming along and really valuing chain wrestling, really valuing the art of grappling and inserting it into their game and having it pick up some steam, it feels like, amongst fans as well, too?
Yeah, I think you have a group of people who are true students of the game, and I think I've always been outspoken about wrestling the sport first, and I think more people now share that mentality. So you're seeing a lot more athletes in wrestling who are, their goal is to be entertaining, but, to be so good at wrestling that it's entertaining, if that makes any sense. So I think, people that are putting the wrestling first, and because they're so good at it, that's become the entertainment factor.
So knowing your style, having seen a million of your matches, and also knowing very well Filthy Tom Lawler.
Uh-oh.
Yes, October 2nd at the former ECW Arena, the Opera Cup, first round match, you and Filthy Tom Lawler. What are your thoughts on this match?
Tom is the only person in wrestling that's uglier than me, so we definitely will not mess up each other's good looks. And the guy's great. He's he's talented beyond words, and I wrestled quite a few crossover athletes that have come from various things into wrestling. And 9 times out of 10, not all the time, but 9 times out of 10, it's a struggle for them to pick it up because they think like, oh, this is going to be easy, Tom was just. I actually wrestled Tom in Oregon a few years ago, and I remember going into it being like, oh, this is going to be rough, that he's so good. I'm like, you sure you just been doing this for a little bit? So, yeah, Tom's a great guy, a great addition to our sport, and he's so happy to get to work with him in MLW, and and he's legit, he's as legit as they come, and so he'll bring the best out of me, and he'll do the same for him. And I think when you have 2 people like that that are trying to prove they're the better wrestler, I think that's when the magic happens. So I look forward to it.
So if I recall correctly, like you were doing a lot of jiu-jitsu or MMA or what was it, and what's going on now?
Yeah, I've been doing jiu-jitsu now for, I amateur wrestled in high school and amateur wrestled in college, and then went and train, for pro wrestling, and found jiu-jitsu and kickboxing, 7 years ago, give or take. And then had to take a little time off because of a knee injury. But other than that, I love it. So, I'm always going to be interested in, like, grappling arts. So I'm actually going to go train with Barnett and do some catch next week. So I'm always looking to learn new stuff. Tom's
in our chat here says you better watch out, but it sounds like he might need to watch out. This guy he hadn't done any MMA in several years now.
Yeah.
So obviously you got TJP as well, and who in MLW, now that you have made your return here, have you got a chance to watch the show, and what are some other names that maybe you have never wrestled before, or maybe that you have wrestled before and you're like, my God, I can go back and have another match with this guy?
Yeah, I could wrestle TJP. We wrestled a million times, I think, in every country or every continent in the world, and I could do it again, and he's so good. But, there's a lot of new people that are coming in, too, that I'd really love to, like. They brought this Tajiri. I'd love to wrestle him. That'd be great. Alex Hammerstone, that'd be great. Fatu would be great. Even getting a tag partner and, getting there with Von Erichs again, that'd be a lot of fun. So there's just a who's who, and we just got Alex Shelley in there. The Opera Cup's just stacked. So, if I can get past Tom, then, I may end up with, Bobby Fish or TJP again, or, I don't know who, but it's really cool because there's no real underdogs in the tournament, so you never really know what's going to happen.
So how long exactly were you out before this most recent return?
I think 4 years.
4 years.
3.5 years.
So for you, was it like riding a bike? I forget who said it, but I think it was Brian Daniels said something like it's like riding a very violent bike. Was that how it was for you? Was there a kind of a few matches that it took you to get back into the groove, or what was it like coming back?
Yeah, he must be right, because I didn't think it would be such a natural process. The first match back I had after 4.5 years went like 30 minutes, and and it was just, it felt natural, and I guess Brian said it best. It really does. It felt very natural, and I had to adjust back to like taking the bumps. I was pretty sore after the first few matches, but now it feels a lot better. So
it's Punk. Punk is the one that said it.
Pick up right where I left off.
So it was apparently it was CM Punk that had made that comment there. But you're telling me that somebody booked you for your first match back and then told you had to go 30?
No, they didn't tell me that. I could have gone 10, but
I see.
Me being me, and I don't like, that's why I don't think I'm ever really going to be cut out for a big TV, kind of organization that relies on television. I don't like wrestling, 5, 6, 7 minutes. I really don't. I like to get in there in 15 to 20, and that's just how I like to wrestle. So to me, I didn't plan on going 30, of course, but I definitely planned on going for a little while. I just wanted to kind of test myself and see where I was.
Well, stand by. We're going to head to a break. We'll be back in a moment to talk more Wrestling Observer Live. The show, Brian Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, Davey Richards. One of these days we got to do a show talking about the old days. We did a lot of it during the break. Not sure how much we want to say, but anyway, a lot of big things coming up with MLW and Davey here. As noted, October 2nd, the Opera Cup, Philadelphia. Tom Lawler and Davey Richards there in the first round, so that should be awesome. And then TJP and Davey Richards is coming Wednesday. Alpha, MLW Alpha, 7 o'clock p.m. on YouTube, and BN Sports later in the week. So, David, let's get some plugs in for your own social media and how anyone can contact you.
Yeah, I just primarily just on Twitter. It's at Richards Wesley, and that's where people can keep up with my wrestling and my training and all that kind of stuff, and my daily struggles with modern technology. So it's pretty entertaining. My pain is entertaining.
Your daily struggles with modern technology? You become one of them?
It took me 4 hours to figure out this damn Venmo thing.
Now you're that old, grizzled vet in the locker room that we all drove us nuts in the early 2000s.
I am. I'm the guy still bringing his checkbook, damn it.
That's right. Well, listen, Davey, I want to thank you for doing the show here today, and best of luck with everything as noted. MLW, Alpha, YouTube, 7 p.m. Eastern, beIN Sports, and, of course, the Opera Cup is coming up as well. And we are totally out of time, everybody. I want to thank Mike, as always, callers and listeners up in the studio. We'll talk to you next time, Wrestling Observer Live. If you enjoy these videos, for just $7.99 per month, you can enjoy full-length editions of The Brian and Vinny Show, Wrestling Observer Live, Figure 4 Daily with Tom Lawler and Lance Storm, plus hundreds of archived shows, all in beautiful HD. Don't miss out. Join us today.